Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've even glanced at the news today, you know global headlines right now feel like a complete avalanche of information. I mean, from shifting superpowers and massive AI court battles to extreme weather and just some truly bizarre cultural anomalies, the sheer volume is, well, it's staggering. But we aren't just going to let it wash over us. Let's unpack it, structure it, and make some sense of it together.
So what is actually driving the global news cycle today? It's an absolutely crucial question. To truly understand the state of the world on April 29, 2026, we've got to zoom out. We need to step back from the frantic alerts pinging on our phones and organize all this noise into some clear patterns.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to filter today's sweeping events through four main thematic lenses: global conflicts and diplomacy, AI under the microscope, extreme weather and climate, and finally, we'll look at the human element with sports, scandals, and culture.
Section 1. Global Conflicts and Diplomacy, a tense board.
Right now, the international stage really resembles a highly complex, incredibly tense chessboard. We are tracking three major flashpoints. First up, the US and Iran are locked in a severe standoff. With the US continuing to blockade Iranian ports, Iran's economy is in a pretty dire state with massive job losses. Though reportedly, there are new diplomatic proposals en route to the White House as we speak. Over in the Middle East, we're seeing some stark contrasts. Gaza is remarkably holding its first elections in 20 years. Now, that's only in one city amid a stalled ceasefire, but still. Meanwhile, up north, satellite images are revealing the massive scale of Israeli destruction in Lebanon. And finally, in Eastern Europe, the Russia-Ukraine war grinds on. The EU just approved a massive $106 billion loan package for Ukraine. And over in Moscow, Putin is hosting a noticeably scaled-back military parade, all while Russian Black Sea towns are dealing with toxic fumes from targeted oil refinery attacks.
So, the crucial point here is the human cost behind all this geopolitical strategy and posturing. 168. That is the number of children killed just 2 months ago in a military strike at an Iranian school. It's a very sobering reminder of the literal life and death stakes involved when diplomacy fails and conflicts escalate.
Now, looking at diplomacy from a totally different angle, we can see two starkly different strategies playing out. On one hand, you've got the tough, punitive blockade approach defining the US-Iran standoff. But on the other hand, we're seeing traditional, soft power diplomacy in action. King Charles is currently embarking on what's being called the toughest mission of his reign, attempting to repair strained ties with the US by delivering a highly anticipated address directly to Congress to emphasize their shared history.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the king's visit is so difficult right now. This leaked comment from the British ambassador to the US suggests that America's only special relationship is now, quote, probably Israel. It really hits the nail on the head regarding the deep, behind-the-scenes friction complicating this frantic diplomatic scramble to keep the historic US-UK alliance intact.
Section 2. AI under the microscope, lawsuits, and geopolitics. We're pivoting sharply now from traditional diplomacy to the absolute bleeding edge of modern power.
If you want to know where the future is being decided today, you have to look at the AI legal battlefield. The stakes here are just unprecedented. Artificial intelligence has rapidly accelerated out of the tech labs and crashed straight into international courtrooms. The boundaries of tomorrow are quite literally being written by the lawsuits of today.
Look at the legal collisions happening right this second. Elon Musk is testifying for a second day in a lawsuit that could completely alter the path of AI development. In a deeply tragic development, families of the Tumbler Ridge shooting victims are directly suing OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman, attempting to hold the tech giant legally accountable. And geopolitically, China has officially blocked Meta from acquiring the Chinese-founded AI startup Manus. So you see, AI is no longer just software. It is deeply entangled in personal human tragedy and massive international trade wars.
Yet, despite being sued over real-world violence, OpenAI is pushing forward aggressively. Actually, they're currently lobbying to embed their most powerful AI models at all levels of government infrastructure, pitching it as the ultimate weapon to fight off hackers. It's a massive push for public integration right in the middle of intense legal scrutiny.
Section 3, Extreme Weather and Climate, a Changing Planet. While our attention is so easily consumed by tech and politics, the physical planet itself is aggressively demanding to be heard.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the terrifying persistence we're seeing, 6. That's the number of consecutive days that deadly severe tornadoes have been devastating towns across Texas. A 6-day outbreak of sheer destruction is a massive anomaly.
It forces us to recognize that extreme weather is kind of becoming a persistent baseline rather than a rare, once-in-a-while event. But okay, here is where the climate story takes a totally bizarre twist. Authorities in France are actively investigating suspected tampering with actual physical weather sensors. And why? Because they noticed highly suspicious betting activity on Polymarket. We have officially reached an era where extreme weather data might actually be physically manipulated to rig financial betting markets. It's an unbelievable intersection of climate change, data reliance, and financial fraud. Just wild. Section 4. Sports, Scandals, and Culture. The Human Element. Let's offer ourselves a bit of a narrative palate cleanser, shifting from the heavy global crises to the unpredictable human stories capturing the world's attention today.
You literally can't make these headlines up. In Athens, an 89-year-old man was arrested after wounding 4 people with a shotgun. Over in Strix, Singapore, a French teenager is facing 2 whole years in prison simply for licking a vending machine straw. And in Sri Lanka, 22 Buddhist monks were arrested at the airport allegedly carrying over 110 kilos of cannabis. It really just goes to show how wildly unpredictable daily human behavior can be.
Let's move to and see how this builds into perhaps the wildest single story of the day. 80. That is the number of Pablo Escobar's famous cocaine hippos that an Indian billionaire heir has officially offered to save. These invasive hippos were slated for a cull in Colombia, but this billionaire wants to step in and relocate the whole shebang. Like I said, you truly cannot make this stuff up.
Over in the sports world, we are seeing the absolute highest highs contrasting with the darkest lows. On the triumph side, legendary gymnast Simone Biles has officially left the door open to competing at the 2028 Olympics, giving fans incredible hope. But on the scandal side, the sports world is reeling from a massive gambling sweep, resulting in over 30 arrests. Ex-NBA player Damon Jones became the first to plead guilty, and college athletes like Texas Tech's quarterback are entering treatment for gambling addiction.
Let's wrap up our cultural roundup on an inspirational note of design and innovation. In the architecture world, Chile's Smiljan Radic has just won the 2026 Pritzker Prize, which is essentially the Nobel Prize of Architecture. And for design enthusiasts out there, it was announced today that consumers will soon actually be able to order and build their very own iconic Eames houses. It's a fantastic reminder of the creativity and beauty that's still advancing in the world.
So what does this all mean? That brings us to the end of our synthesis and leaves us with this final thought. Just look at what we covered in a matter of minutes. With AI rewriting legal boundaries, the climate breaking historical norms, and global alliances shifting so rapidly every single day, how will today's chaotic headlines shape tomorrow's history? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time as we continue to explore these fascinating, interconnected global trends.